We needed it more than you. That's what my brother-in-law said. Smirking across the lake house living room. No one corrected him. No one even looked at me. My hands were still damp from the lake water when I checked my bank account, expecting to clear a few payments. Instead, I watched 5 years of savings disappear in a single refresh. Zero. Gone. I looked up slowly. He raised his glass. He smiled like it was funny. They thought I would break right there, but something else happened instead. That wasn't the moment I fell apart. It was the moment I woke up. My name is Florence. And for most of my life, I believed family was something solid. Something that held. I grew up in Portland, in a house that always smelled like sawdust and coffee. My parents ran a small hardware store. Nothing fancy, just honest work. And I learned early, you earn what you keep. My sister, Allison, learned something else. She learned how to be chosen. I learned how to be useful. When our parents died in a car accident, everything changed, but not equally. Allison got attention. I got responsibility. She married Kyle. And I learned slowly that he wasn't just controlling, he was calculating. Still, I came to the lake house that weekend thinking it might finally be different. WAS and single quotes T. The seating chart told me everything. Outside. By the trash cans. I laughed when I saw it. At first. Then I realized no one was going to fix it. Not my parents, not my sister. Not anyone. So I sat down where they placed me. And watched through glass as they celebrated without Emmy. That's when Allison walked out. White dress, perfect smile, and a voice that had sharpened over years of learning how to hurt quietly. Guess you don't count. She said it like it was obvious, like I was a detail someone forgot to include in the final draft of a story. I didn't answer right away because something in me was already shifting. You really believe that? I asked finally. She shrugged. It's true. Behind her, music played. Inside, my family laughed. Outside, I stood alone, but not small. Not anymore. I used to think I needed a seat inside your world, I said. Now I'm not so sure I want one. Her expression tightened. Mom was right about you, she said. Always difficult. That word. Again. Difficult. Funny how they only used it when I stopped being convenient. I left the gift on the table. Outside, a silver-wrapped box, carefully chosen, carefully timed. And I walked away. But I didn't leave empty because I'd already noticed something wrong earlier that week. Logins on my laptop. Settings changed. Access patterns that didn't belong to me. And now I knew why I didn't confront it. I documented it. Quietly. Carefully. Like someone preparing for a storm no one else believed was coming. When I left the lake house that night, I didn't feel broken. I felt aligned. Like everything in me had finally stopped bending. Then the screen came. Not mine. Inside. Sharp, sudden. Followed by silence that didn't feel normal anymore. I didn't turn around. Not because I didn't care, but because I finally understood something important. I didn't need to witness the collapse to know the truth had landed. I got in my car and waited. The call to police was already made before I even left the driveway. Evidence uploaded, logs preserved. Every access traced, every action recorded. Kyle thought arrogance was protection, but it's not. It's exposure waiting to happen. By the time officers arrived, the lake house wasn't a celebration anymore. It was a scene. Controlled. Measured. Over. When they brought him out, he was still talking, still denying, still performing control. But nobody was watching him the same way anymore. Not even Allison. She stood beside me when it ended, not as someone defending him, but as someone finally stepping out of the shadow he built around her. Later, she cried, not because he was gone, but because she finally understood how long she'd been living inside someone else's version of reality. I told her the truth she needed to hear. You weren't weak. You were isolated. That matters because isolation is what control looks like when it's dressed up as love. Weeks later, the lake house looked different. Same walls. Same water, but the air wasn't heavy anymore. It had space in it. Space for people to breathe. Again. Allison moved in with me temporarily. We didn't talk much at first. Then we did. Slowly. Honestly. Like two people realizing what safe sounds like. And my boutique, the one I thought I had lost, came back. Rebuild. Stronger than before because fraud leaves a trail. And truth, once documented, doesn't disappear just because someone says it should. Months later, standing in my shop as sunlight hit the knee displays, I realized something simple. They didn't take my money. They revealed who would and who would try. Family doesn't guarantee safety. Blood doesn't guarantee respect. But boundaries do something better. They define what survives you and what you never let happen again. Sometimes justice doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives as silence after chaos. And the realization that you're still standing when someone else thought you wouldn't be.